Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is verbally abusive wives. Ooh, kind of a tough, this is really a tough subject, but I think if you're married to a verbally abusive wife or involved with a verbally abusive woman, you need to hear this. If you have a great lady in your life, wow, that's just absolutely wonderful. But unfortunately, a lot of men don't. A lot of men suffer, and a lot of men live out really miserable lives with these verbally abusive wives. I don't have a verbally abusive wife anymore. I left my wife many years ago and set about recreating my life, and I have done that. I'm extremely happy with myself now, with my life now and how things are. And it's almost like the man I was back in the day when I was getting verbally abused. I don't even recognize myself, right? Except that I did go to considerable effort to write about the situation, and I wrote a book called Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with the 3-Step System, and it's available on the ahappierman.com website. So in that book, I talk about the 3 steps. Is 1, get your mind right; 2, take action; 3, rest, heal, recharge, and grow. So all of this time I've been on this resting, recharging, healing, and growing, because I went through the tremendous mind shift, the mindset changes that were necessary to get enough courage to leave her, and then I went through with it, taking the action. So I have not forgotten about the pain, the misery, the chaos, and the destruction, and the frustration of all of that, but I have put it far enough in back of me that I just enjoy the heck out of my life now, and I wish that for you. So if you're married to a verbally abusive wife, listen to this and think about checking out my article. I describe about the book on the website, ahappierman.com, and it's on that site prominently, so you can't miss it if you want to read a little bit more about it. And it's a very sad situation when anyone is verbally abused, and if they're a man, I won't say it's doubly sad. It's sad for everybody. It's just that the resources for men to help you get through this are a lot more few and far between. When I was going through this back, in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, I would look at my work computer, look for articles about verbal abuse of men, and there weren't that many. There was a great website called verbalabusivemen.com. I think it's still available. And then there were some websites about verbal abuse. They were all kind of written for women, though. But there was some guidance for men, but it was kind of limited. So I had to flip everything to go from the man's point of view. And I reference all these good articles that I found in the book, so you can kind of read what I read at the time, and I used that information to help guide my decision. The decision was to leave her, but man, when you're a verbally abused man, you're not going to be a strong with it together man. I consider myself a strong with it together man who's in total charge of his life. But at that time, no, that was the farthest thing from the way my life was. When you're verbally abused by your wife, and has eroded your confidence over time, you're going to be a shell of a man. You're going to be timid. You're going to be worried. You don't know what's going to set her off next. You're going to be walking on eggshells, and your life won't be your own. Your life is hers, and I don't want that for you. I want you to think about how you'd like to live the rest of your life. Check out those resources that I talked about on my website, ahappierman.com, and think about it. Do some deep soul searching. You know, the information I found suggested that it's going to be very, very, very unlikely that a woman, once she starts down this path of being a really hard verbal abuser, she's just got no way to change and be nice again. It just won't happen. It just won't happen. So I would not count on that. And you're not going to get a lot of good guidance from mainstream sources on leaving your wife. You know, if you're married, you're probably got some kind of a religious aspect to your marriage too. And of course, those religions aren't interested in you leaving your wife. You know, they need you to stay married for their reasons, not your reasons. And there's going to be tremendous guilt associated with even the thought of leaving. It's just that if she's verbally abusive, your hope, your chance of a good life are zero. There's no chance for you to have a good life. And that was the decision I made for myself, was to leave her. You know, verbal abuse takes many forms, right? But basically anything that a person says to you that makes you feel bad about yourself is a form of verbal abuse. And what you'll find is this, the woman in this case is using this verbal abuse many times over a period of time. It just becomes how she kind of interacts with you, right? That she's not really that. She may be nice from time to time, and she may not be just screaming and yelling all the time, but she's going to be screaming and yelling. She's going to be using sarcasm. She's going to be using put-downs. There's going to be an eye rolling, a kind of always kind of mocking you. You're going to be questioned everything you do. You're going to be kind of forced to submit, right? Asking for permission for pretty much anything in your life, and it's all a form of verbal abuse. Put it on the other. What if you were doing all this to your wife? Wouldn't that be called verbal abuse? If you were screaming at her, you know, once a week, you know, even if you scream at her once a year, isn't that too much? I would say yes. If you're mocking her, calling her names, putting her down, everything that she kind of says, you kind of discount as stupid and worthless. Well, that's, if it's wrong for you to do it to someone else, it's wrong for someone else to do it to you. So, yeah, I know this is a hard topic to talk about. It's very difficult. You know, even now, I'm trying not to think about myself in those years. I'm trying to just focus on, yeah, I'm about to have a great workout. I had only worked 2.5 days so far this week, but you know, taking some time for the holidays, but it's important for you to seriously contemplate the circumstances of your life. You will have no hope of a good life if you stay married verbally abusing you. And in the book I talk about a lot of objections, but yeah, there's going to be a religious objection, there's going to be a family objection, there's going to be, what about your kids, what about your finances, what about your house, what about the friends, as a couple, the family situation. All of that makes leaving your wife enormously difficult. But the most difficult part about leaving a verbally abusive wife is she's verbally abusing you and your confidence is totally shattered. And you think you cannot live without this lady in your life. And I would say if you can get out, you're going to live just fine. You'll figure it out. You'll make whatever moves are necessary. Things will start to move in your direction. You'll be persistent, and you'll start building yourself up into a much, much stronger, much, much happier man who's going to create his life the way he would like it. So, if you have a verbally abusive woman in your life, if you're married to her, if she's your live-in, check that information out. I wish this wasn't true for you, but I know it's going to be true for many men. Quite a few men have bought my book, and I'm hoping that a lot of them have left their verbally abusive wives and they've gone on to make a great life for themselves. I'm sure some read the book and stayed with their wives and are continuing to live in misery, wishing for an early death or killing themselves, because let's face it, that's a way out too. And I don't want that for you. I want you just to do what's right for yourself, figure all this out, and enjoy the rest of your life. All for now.